Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I'm your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass, live and in living color here with you only on the graveyard. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, I don't know about y'all, but I got some cabin fever. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight on Grande's Graveyard, it's a cabin fever retrospective. Yes, 4 films and possibly 3 to 4 regrets. I'm just kidding. But we do have some regrets that Grande's Graveyard. It is not all positive because there are some movies in this franchise that downright stink, and we are here to talk about the good, the bad, and the goddamn ugly. I'm ready. I'm willing. I'm able. I've got a flesh-eating disease, and I don't care who knows it, buddy. But let's get to the chat, and then we'll get underway with the show, of course. We got, of course, as always, one of the biggest loyalist of Grande's Graveyard, Miss C, in that chat. Ciao, Grande and Graveyardian friends. Hello, my friend, Miss C. Hope all's well with you. AJ's Happy Fun Time channel checks in, says, we're waiting. I think AJ is upset that I've gone full Hollywood Grande. You see, The Rock is his favorite wrestler, and he thinks I'm just trying to imitate him at being late to my own show. Now, I don't do these things on purpose, Mr. AJ Zetro. And if you want to meet me outside about it, I know exactly, my friend. I know exactly we could do a Chicago street fight. Your street, no questions asked, buddy. I'm on for a brawl. Let's do it. Miss C saying hi to AJ. We got Double H in the Heezy. What up, Double G? Pancakes. I know Pancakes has become an infamous line with the original, and it does make an appearance in the remake. So, for better or for worse, pretty much for worse. A small spoiler there. Small spoiler, but yeah. We got Ghostface Brett in the house. What's up? Ghostface Brett earlier today uploaded his review of the original Strangers movie, and I also think of Mad Max Furiosa, a Mad Max story, whatever the fuck the name of that Mad Max prequel is. He uploaded those 2 reviews today. So if you want to subscribe to Brett's channel, he's good people, very good people. We got Anthony Chobot in the house. How you doing, buddy? Doing good, my friend. Always good to see you in the house. Thank you for coming in. Hey, peeps, AJ says. We got Cinephile Sanity TV. Good evening, everyone. Sean, what's up, my friend? Hope all is well with you. Brett says, what's up, Grande? Mavs in 5. Let's go, Mavs. Well, I would say Mavs in 5, but my friend can win like $11,000 if the Timberwolves somehow come back from 3-0. So I hope to God that happens, because that would be really cool. But if not, I'm all for the Mavs because I ain't cheering for Boston's ass. Sorry for any Boston people or Boston Celtics fans in the chat, because I just not it, man. I'm still sad the Knicks got eliminated. The 1966 classic Western Clint Eastwood movie theme, Slasher Fred checks into the house. What's going on, Fred? Hope all's well with you. You're on. Let's go. All right, book it for WrestleMania 41. John Grande versus AJ Zetro. I'm just going to start cutting promos, just like I did for fantasy football. I'll just cut promos centered on you. I think this would be an epic match and a half. So we may need a special guest referee. Maybe Dr. Cabinet Howdy, maybe fucking Mernsey. I don't know who's going to be the special guest referee, but we're going to need somebody to contain those 2 egos. It's just 2 big egos. It's just not big enough for whatever arena we fight in the street fight in. A little over a 3-hour show last week. Now he's going to give us a 4-hour wait before the showtime. LMAO, I'm kidding. I appreciate that, but I will say this. I am sorry I went so damn long last week, and I'm going to make a conscious effort this week not to do that again. So we're going to attempt to cut down the running time of Grande's Graveyard. Thankfully, instead of 10 films, we have 4 to talk about, and pretty much 3 that I can't stand. So this should be very entertaining, especially if you like rants. Once we get past the original Cabin Fever, you're going to have a fucking field day. So I hope you guys have some popcorn and maybe some water, because that's the key to these movies is the water. Make it in 5. Okay, that's fine. We got Alpha Romero checking in. Grande. Hello, everybody. Alpha, what's going on, my friend? Hope all is well with you. People saying hi to one another. And I don't think I missed anything else. Anthony Chobot, what's up, brother? I said hello to you before. Hope all is well. So that leads us to the topic at hand. Cabin Fever. Now, of course, the original Cabin Fever is over 20 years old now, which is absolutely crazy to think about. And I guess to give a little bit of a background as far as for me and how I was introduced to the film, this would have came out when I was at the ripe old age of 5. So I was a little bit young to be watching horror movies. I wasn't quite there yet. I wasn't quite to the Friday the 13th, that whole story that I've told in the original Grande's Graveyard. But Cabin Fever was one of the earlier horror movies that I did see, and it was on, I believe, either the Sci-Fi Channel or it was AMC. And I caught the movie, and I always was sort of a little bit disappointed with it. I couldn't ever really put my finger on why I was disappointed with it, but it didn't do it for me. And then, of course, years later, I did see the sequel. The sequel's really horrible. The sequel makes the original Cabin Fever look like A Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, that's how bad Cabin Fever 2 is. We'll get there. Of course, I saw Patient Zero, and then I saw the remake. And it really wasn't until seeing the remake where it opened my eyes, and I was like, you know what? As much as I'm not a big Eli Roth fan, as much as I was disappointed when I first watched the original Cabin Fever, it made me realize and appreciate it a little bit more than I initially did. And I went back, and for show prep this week, yeah, I could say that the original Cabin Fever by a mile is the best of these 4 movies we're going to be talking about tonight. So I am very excited to get to that with you guys. Go as long as you want, just not about Cabin Fever. Well, okay, that therein lies the challenge. We got Uncle Bill in the house. Please don't do the show. Discussing these movies has been known to cause blindness, herpes, lactation, decrease in IQ, dizziness, vomiting, and anal syphilis. Well, that just sounds horrible. But Uncle Bill, welcome to the chat. Uncle Bill also just reviewed the 4K of Cemetery Man. I watched that actually on my way home from work today. I listened to it in the car. Very cool. Awesome release from Severin. I watched it last night coincidentally, and then I see that it was scheduled. I was like, holy shit, like, what are the odds of this? So really cool review, really cool release, especially if you're a Michele Soave fan. Awesome movie. So welcome, Uncle Bill. Hope all's well. El Tenda's in the house. Howdy. What's going on, buddy? There is only one Cabin Fever for me. Well, man, I'm going to have to agree with you. But, yeah, I did watch the other 3 movies for show prep. And, yeah, I didn't get any anal syphilis as of yet. But I may have had a decrease in IQ and maybe some dizziness. I don't know. I wish blindness would have happened, to be honest with you. Mateo is here. Ciao, Grande. I have not seen even one movie of Cabin Fever. Well, here you go. This is why Mateo doesn't have anal syphilis. I'll probably watch one after this episode. Hi to the whole chat. Welcome, Mateo. Hope all's well with you as always. I guess there's no better segue into the first Cabin Fever movie. We could do a little bit of a screen share here. Everybody, I hope you're having a safe, wonderful night. Cheers. And we'll do a quick screen share to get a little bit of a visual up in this son of a bitch. Of course, it all started in 2002 with a little movie that could, a movie that in some way, shape, or form, whether you like it or not, it did make a lot of buzz around the time that it came out. And I didn't even realize how much until I did my show prep for this. Of course, Cabin Fever was a movie that Eli Roth, who's, of course, worked on some short films with David Lynch, and as an up-and-comer, this is a guy that really loved horror movies, grew up on horror movies just like the rest of us, really. I mean, a big fan. Now, as far as my feelings on Eli Roth, I'm not a big fan of him. I know we got one half of Dead Pit in the house. They're like infamous for making fun of him, and just recently met him. But for me personally, I've been always very mixed on him. Like, I should like him. He does like a lot of the same films I like. He does, make horror movies that are love letters and homages to movies of yesteryear that I loved. I mean, Green Inferno, we're going to write a love letter to Cannibal Holocaust. I was so excited, and I went to go see Green Inferno, and I was so disappointed. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, you would never know that this guy loved Cannibal Holocaust or Cannibal Ferox or Cannibal Apocalypse or Man from Deep River or all these great cannibal movies that came before it. You watch something like Green Inferno, I was like, did he even get the point? Did he completely just miss it? Like, I don't know. And then, of course, the Hostel movies I've never been a fan of. Knock Knock, which is like a remake of, Death Game. I don't know, just never been a big Eli Roth fan at all. But I will say, of all of his movies, if there's one that you want to watch, it probably is this one, because this is the smallest budget. It was coming from humble beginnings. This was a guy trying to break into the industry, his directorial debut. And I think an interesting idea. Of course, I guess brief plot synopsis as always. That's Grande's graveyard tradition here. 5 college graduates rent a cabin in the woods and begin to fall victim to a horrifying flesh-eating virus which attracts the unwanted attention of the homicidal locals. Yes, Cabin Fever. Like I said, of course, cabin in the woods motif, bunch of kids, college kids that like to drink and smoke, getting picked off one by one. How many times have we seen it before? But to take that age-old trope and spin it as opposed to there's not a hockey mask killer in the woods trying to kill him. It's instead a flesh-eating virus. I always thought that was a very unique way to take this. I actually really like switching it up that way. It's not a killer in a mask. It's a flesh-eating virus that you can get from drinking the water. And that's how the whole kind of movie plays out. And we're introduced to characters that I'm kind of iffy on, but granted, once you've seen the remake, you go to appreciate their personality. Of course, the big one being Ryder Strong, who was on Boy Meets World. Everybody knows and remembers and loves that show. Of course, Jordan Ladd, daughter of Cheryl Ladd, really good looking woman. Serena Vincent, who went on to be in a ton of like lower B movie horror movies. James DeBello and Joey Kern, not as much, but I do think they do a serviceable job. They're fine. They're kind of stereotypical. You've got the James DeBello's the asshole. Ryder Strong's like the moral guy. Cheryl Ladd is like, or Jordan Ladd is like the, pretty but prude girl. And then Serena Vincent's kind of the hoary slut girl. They do a good enough job in their roles. And I think that the people around them were interesting enough too. Like you have the general store owner who apparently was just this random guy in North Carolina that they were like, all right, let's cast him. We needed actors. And that guy just nailed that role. He felt so organic in that role. I liked that a lot. You have the weird kid on the porch screaming about pancakes, doing kung fu and shit like that, which I always thought was rather silly, but people seem to love it. And it does give this film an identity. I mean, people remember that about the movie. But of course, it starts off slow. It starts off, we're getting to know these people. They're just trying to have a good time. And then, slowly but surely they realize that there's this flesh-eating disease out there and they start to turn. And, we get all these interesting kind of special makeup effects as their bodies start to deteriorate away. Again, I liked the idea of that. I thought the idea was smart. I thought it was innovative. And I thought, okay, of course, taking an age-old trope in the cabin in the woods type of movie and turning it, that was smart. I think right off the bat, that was smart. I thought Eli, while, is a huge horror fan, is trying to pay homage to so many horror movies in here. Like you totally see a nod to Evil Dead. You totally hear a lot of David Hess music from Last House on the Left, one of my favorite movies ever made. Like a lot of the music in the movie is David Hess recycled music from Last House on the Left. Some of the other music in it, you'll hear Angelo Badalamenti, who of course worked with, David Lynch, and they were good friends. And he basically I think it was like the rap party of Mulholland Drive, or after the movie premiered, Eli cornered Angelo Badalamenti and was like, I'm developing this movie. It's called Cabin Fever. I would love if you could do some music for me. I'm so tight for money and stuff like that. I've got a $1.5 million budget, but it would mean the world to me if you helped me. And Angelo said, no problem, man. And does a lot of the, individual scores, in this movie for Eli for free. So that's really cool. I mean, to hear Badalamenti in anything is cool. And to get him for free was just the steal of the century for Eli Roth. With all that being said, and I do think there's more positives, as opposed to negatives. I do have some problems with the movie. Number one being tone. I know Eli Roth wanted to make this a huge, like, horror comedy. And I think that's the big kind of disconnect with me in this film is I think this could have been something great had they just played it serious. Now, again, that remake plays it all serious and it's a big piece of shit. So, go figure. But I do think that, we could have still had some of the quirky lines in there, but there could have been a line where once shit got serious tonally, we stopped with the jokes. And that doesn't really happen here. Like there's a scene with James DeBello. Oh, I'm really sick. I got to see a doctor. And the pancakes. And the kid jumps off the porch as the fucking kung fu. What? Like that takes you out of it. There's Ryder Strong's kind of trying to drive to safety. And all of a sudden a deer jumps through his fucking thing. And it's this weird animatronic deer, which was done by K&B, which blows my mind. The weird animatronic deer, he's covered in fucking blood. And then that whole scene didn't work. I'm like, what? Like, why is this in here? Like every time where it was like about to get going in the serious department and about to get invested and holy shit, I hope they get out alive, it would kind of throw something goofy in there. And I know that some people, they embrace that goofiness and they love it and they feel that it really does make this movie stand out. And that's perfectly fine if you feel that way. I think that's the thing for me that makes it from being a good movie to a great movie, and it prevents it from doing that. That's just me. That's how I feel about the movie. But aside from that bad animal effect, I do think the effects from K&B are rather good. You have Jordan Ladd's character. She's like deteriorating away, and you have the finger bang misfire scene, which everybody kind of remembers, which I don't know how, even if you're a virgin, I don't know how that happens. Like the scene is fucking Ryder Strong and Jordan Ladd are in bed together, and he's just going into, he's putting two in the pink. At least he's trying to. And he kind of goes down there and she's moaning and he thinks he's fingering her and then realizes that it's just the flesh eating virus on her leg. And he pulls up and screams and everybody kind of loses their shit. Oh my God, you have the disease, blah, blah, blah. And another thing I'll say while I was watching this, which I was absolutely mind blown, I didn't remember, was the political incorrectness in the dialogue. Like, this movie today would offend everybody. Like, granted, what movie wouldn't? But this especially, like, there's some scenes where I'm like, holy shit, this would not fly today. Like homophobic stuff, like racist stuff, where I'm watching this, I'm like, it's just a movie, but holy shit, like you showed this to an SJW or something, they fucking have aneurysm watching this. Like they asked the Bert character, hey Bert, why is shooting and hunting squirrels? He goes, because they're fucking gay. Like, I was, what? Like, what a weird rationale for running up to kill squirrels. Bizarre. There's a scene where the general store owner is like telling them, oh, this is what this is for, this is what that's for, and somebody says, oh, what's the rifles for? And of course he says, therefore, the derogatory word for a black person, which I was like, holy shit. Like I don't know why I totally forgot some of the lines in this where I'm like, dude, this would not fly the same today. Like it would have a hard time with all of its political incorrectness of the dialogue. But again, I guess different times, this was right before the time where the horror remake trend just took over, because of course, like 2003, the Texas Chainsaw remake, which is shitty, that Platinum Dunes, all these remakes started coming out from like 2003 on. This was like one of the last horror movies to really like get over on its individuality. And then of course, Saw was the following year from this same studio, which was Lionsgate. There is of course the whole story where they debuted this, I think, at the Canadian International Film Festival. Was the last film of the festival, and people love it. It got a huge ovation, and of course, there was a huge bidding war for this movie, and it cost $1.5 million to make. Ended up being purchased for like $3.5 million by Lionsgate. They put it out, and it became a huge moneymaker for them, like over $30 million. It grossed in the U.S., and I mean, they were off to the races. Eli Roth and company didn't make a lot of money, but their investors did, and then overnight, it was like everybody and their mother that had any credibility was putting him over. Like Peter Jackson apparently showed this on the set of Lord of the Rings, and Quentin Tarantino did a special thanks to Eli Roth in the credits of Kill Bill Volume 2. And it seemed like all these people in the know, all these people that were just making their masterpieces at the time that had credibility were putting Eli Roth in this little movie that could over. Do I think it was worth that? No, I don't. I really don't. If I was a person in that position of power, I don't know if this is the first movie I would have grabbed and said, yeah, embrace this. But I will say at least it was original. At least it wasn't what was about to come in the remake train. At least it was an attempt at something new while paying homage and love letters to the films that came before it. I know he mentions, oh, I was going for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Evil Dead, blah, blah, blah. It's not even in those films' conversations. It's just not. It's not on that level. For some people it might be, but it's, in my opinion, it's just not. But with that all being said, I definitely think it's a decent enough movie. Let's get to the comments, though. I want to hear what you guys have to say before we jump into some of the plot and stuff like that. Let's see. Uncle Bill said, great film. Yes, Cemetery Man's a great film. I think that's what makes these movies so interesting, is that the title is a play on words, because it usually means when we get all cooped up and are feeling trapped with no way out. Sure, no, that's totally valid. When the dude falls off the ladder into the effective water is always hilarious and disgusting to see. Yeah, I think for some people it balanced the humor and the horror really well. For me, it was a little bit too humorous. Like that's a very fine balancing act to do. Like there are things that make me laugh in the film. Like there's a scene where Serena Vincent is having sex with Joey Kern, and he's about to come, and then for some reason he's like, yeah, do it. And she gets on top of him, and you get the idea that she stuck her finger up his ass. I was like, why? I just popped at that. I was like, what the fuck? Like that, what a random, like, yeah, it'd be really funny. Like just weird. Grande, don't lie. You love House of the Devil. I hate fucking House of the Devil and anything Ty West ever did. So yeah, you want to find somebody that I actually hate more than Eli Roth, it would be Ty West, which, fun enough, has directed the first two movies of this. I just watched that Cemetery Man 4K review too. No, dude, yeah, that's awesome. It was an awesome review, and it's an awesome edition. I'm so stoked to have that. I have the big box one too. This movie kind of feels like something very familiar to the original Evil Dead, where the characters are being wiped out one by one by a flesh-eating disease. And fun fact, Slasher Fred, because I know you're a big fun fact guy. What, again, upon rewatch, you notice not one of them dies from the disease. Isn't that weird? Like a movie where the main antagonist is this deathly flesh-eating virus, not one of them get killed by the disease. Not one of them. Just such an odd like circumstance. I probably like maybe 3 Roth movies. The Green Inferno was a huge letdown for me too. It doesn't even feel connected to Cannibal at all. Oh, I agree with that. I can't stand Green Inferno. I would say this. I don't like either Hostel movie that he did. I don't like Knock Knock. I don't like Green Inferno. I didn't like the Death Wish remake. I didn't dare to bother with Thanksgiving. I don't know. I'm just not. I should. You know, that's the thing, Sean. I should. Like, again, on paper, I should like, because he likes all the same films I like. He likes street trash. He puts over these weird movies that we all grew up on and loved. And, like, he's definitely a huge fan of it. But I also think he can come off in interviews as a little bit pompous, a little bit, I don't want to say arrogant, but snarky maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. I've actually heard people say that his personality is similar to mine, which scares the fuck out of me, to be perfectly honest. Like, I don't want to come off like I'm, like I guess people say he's very energetic and very like enthusiastic, and that's kind of my personality. So I don't know. I have no idea, but I definitely, I that's one when I heard that, I was like, oh shit, I better shut the fuck up. It's amazing that how you have 2 people from 2 iconic family or children's show appearing in this movie. You have Ryder Strong from Boy Meets World, Serena Vincent from season 7 of Power Rangers. And it's funny, Serena Vincent in an interview for this movie that I watched, she said she grew up watching Ryder Strong on Boy Meets World, and here they are working together in the movie. Really cool. Love Cabin Fever, huge fan, says Merzy's Movie Mansion, watching from the 65-inch mansion cave. So over the top, that finger scene, love the deer bursting through the windshield and then getting shotgun blasted. So Sam Raimi-esque, wicked flick, sup Graveyard Fam. Yeah, no, hey, yeah, some of those I kind of, like, it definitely does. It feels like Sam Raimi meets something like Peter Jackson would do, but not nearly the amount of creativity. Like, there's some of it there. There's some of the charm. There's some of the creativity. There's some of the laughs there. But I don't know if they all worked for me. I don't know. It's definitely, though, like a overall positive experience, but I don't know. It's just always something missing. Grande, did you have pancakes today to celebrate the show? No, I skipped the fucking pancakes, Brett. I definitely skipped the pancakes. Bert is good in the movie. Douchebag, greater than Tom. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like James DeBello okay in the movie. He's definitely like, I don't know. He's like supposed to be the asshole, but he's good. Like, he's fine. I don't know. He's fine. I like the whole cast. I really don't mind any of them. I think Serena Vincent was beautiful. And I know there's the whole controversy of the time because she has a sex scene in the film with Ryder Strong, and she didn't want any of her ass to be shown. And there was a whole fucking problem with that where she said, I will only let 1 inch of my ass be visible on screen. And they actually fucking measured her ass and then put the fucking blanket up to her ass to like only reveal 1 inch of it. And then later in the fucking shooting, there she's like, oh, this scene isn't believable unless my yits are out. And they were like, what? You just made us measure your asshole. And she's like, no, yeah, but this wouldn't be realistic, so I'll show my breast in the scene. Like, what the fuck? Like, so fucking weird, but I guess that's Hollywood, man. Best scene from Eli Roth is Big Bag of Weed. Oh, Jesus, the cameo from Eli Roth. Oh, I don't know. I didn't find that funny at all. Cabin Fever, only Eli Roth movie I like. Not perfect, but I could deal with it. Yes, exactly agree with that. We got some cool channel name, Cabin Farter. Okay, Cabin Farter, maybe you're not a fan. No, Grande Knock Knock is amazing. Merdsy, you got to do me a favor and make Merdsy Movie Mansion's list of amazing movies and like put the worst shit that you like on it. I would die. Like, I think that'd be amazing. Thanksgiving was fun, dude. Okay, so another Thanksgiving positive review. I've not seen Thanksgiving, so I couldn't tell you. I don't know. But this movie here, I know, getting to some of the plot aspects and stuff like that. Ryder Strong, he has a thing for Jordan Ladd's character. He's like trying to be the nice guy. He's been trying to execute a plan since 8th grade. They had nice chemistry. I like the scenes where they were talking together. They try to do this whole thing where it's almost like Alien, where the characters are kind of like not talking, they're not communicating. And in an old Romero trope, if we don't communicate in here, we will lose out there, or we'll be eaten alive by this flesh-eating virus. They try that. I don't know if it necessarily works. Like they're desperately going for that. And I don't know. I didn't think that part of it really worked perfectly here. I don't know. I don't know. It's just such a mixed bag for me, this movie. It's so weird. Like, to me, the best character in the whole movie is Deputy Winston, played by Giuseppe Andrews. He's great in the movie. The party man. He's basically the world's worst deputy cop ever. He rides a bicycle. He has this shitty, like, crew cut haircut. And he has this lisp, and there's something so charming about the Giuseppe Andrews character in this that I literally think he steals the movie. Like anytime he's on screen, you're drawn to Giuseppe. And it's really weird because Giuseppe Andrews is a guy that he experimented in like independent filmmaking, granted not the greatest stuff unless you're into really, really artsy cinema. And as of 2015, he went missing. Like no one has seen or heard from Giuseppe Andrews in almost 10 years. The guy's completely like fallen off the face of the earth. They can't fucking find him. It's such a shame to me because I would love, like if he came to a convention, I would totally want to meet Giuseppe Andrews. He seems like the weirdest human being, but a very talented one in that. And of course, he and James DeBello, they were in Detroit Rock City in 1999. Here they show up in Cabin Fever, a little bit of reunion, even though they don't share any scenes together. But Giuseppe's just so funny in this. Like there's a scene where he sees Ryder Strong and, oh man, hey man, don't worry about it, man. I'll get a party. I'll get a truck up here, a tow truck up here in no time, man. Don't you even worry about it, party, man. He sees him later on and Ryder Strong's covered in blood. He's like, Winston, how about that fucking tow truck? Like, where was it? And he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry, man. That tow truck that I sent up there, it broke down. I had to send another tow truck to get that fucking tow truck. It was just a fucking mess, man. The way he explains that, I burst out laughing upon the rewatch. Like, I thought that was the funniest line of the whole movie. Like, him explaining about the tow truck breaking down. I don't know, man. I thought that was actually like good, clean comedy. I was like, Giuseppe is just so funny. And they radio into him. They got some skin disease virus that'll eat you alive. If you see any of them, shoot them on sight. I'm sorry, man. Can you just repeat that last part of man? Like everything he says ends in man. I don't know why, but it's just so fucking funny, man. Giuseppe Andrews. I wish he was in it more. Like I think he's the best thing in Cabin Fever for me. And even as bad as the sequel is, it's nice to see him back. Like I'm glad if that movie did one thing right, it was getting him back. Granted, it did nothing else right. But I think Giuseppe was great. I thought he added a good humor. That's good humor in a film. I do think there's some interesting sequences of horror where Serena Vincent, after having sex, they have this whole scene where, this reminds you of when you're on a plane and it's going to crash and all you want to do is fuck the person sitting next to you. And then, of course, she has her sex scene with Ryder Strong where we can see 1 inch visible of her ass. They have that, and he kind of grabs her back, and you see her back start to deteriorate. And then she's in the bathtub shaving her legs, and you're seeing these giant chunks of skin come off. I thought that was effective, and she's just crying like subtly. I thought that was truly horrific. Like imagine, you just start peeling parts of your bodies off in the bathtub. Like holy shit! And then she runs outside in this like red robe. And they do this interesting thing where this rabid dog chases her down and like basically eats her alive. And they do this interesting thing where the screen turns all red. Like it's like the dog sees blood red. I loved that. I thought that was probably the best scene of horror in your horror movie. And hence why we do the color red tonight. I thought that really worked. You do have the Joey Kern character that I don't want any of you getting sick. I don't want any of us getting sick, but you two fucking fuckers insist on touching her. So you're going to get it, whatever. I hope you both fucking rot, but not me. And he has the handkerchief, like he's covering his mouth and he grabs off the beers and kind of waddles away. He's like, yeah, he's such a prick, but smartest guy in the movie. He didn't get the virus, although he does end up getting his ass shot to death anyway. I don't know. Like to me, this is a movie it's very interesting, and there's nothing else quite like it. Like we've seen the sequels, which, granted, like I said, they're going to be big rants. I'm telling you right now. I do appreciate that the movie did try to do something different. Now, like I said, there is some humor that not the greatest, but again, compared to the remake, which we'll get to. At least that added a little bit of personality to this movie, whereas in the remake, it seemed like they took the personality out of it. And that worked. But my question is, for anyone that is an Eli Roth fan, where is the personality that's in this movie in any of his other movies? There's no personality in Hostel movies. There's no personality in The Green Inferno. There's no personality in there's no the humble up and coming Eli Roth to me is way better than the, Quentin Tarantino's producing his movie Eli Roth. It just, I don't know. There's something about the humble beginnings that I think helped this movie and is visually present in this movie that is missing from every other thing he ever did. I see it here. I do. I see charm here somewhere. And I don't know if he got too big for his bridges. I don't know if he, got a little bit full of himself, if he got arrogant, if he got an ego. I don't see the personality that is in this movie in any of his other works. I really don't. And not even a glimpse of it to me. But Cabin Fever for me overall, it's like a 6 out of 10. I think it's solid. Again, I like the David Hess music. I like the homage. I like the originality. I think the actors all do a fine job. I do have problems with the goof. I do have problems with the tone at times. It's just, I don't know, it's just a little bit of a mixed bag, but it's a pass. It's definitely a movie that has grown on me over time. As opposed to when I first saw it, I really didn't like it at all. This is a movie that has grown on me. And Eli Roth's best movie, hands down. There's no fucking doubt that this is his best movie. But let's see what you'll have to say in comments, and we'll give you a little bit of the poster. I do like the poster. That's a cool ass poster. I'll say that. Thanksgiving was sick. Okay, I didn't see Thanksgiving, so that's 2 people telling me. Thanksgiving was great, one of my favorites from last year. All right, so Thanksgiving is getting its blessing, so I'm going to have to nut up or shut up and see it. Detroit Rock City, hell yeah, awesome movie. I agree, AJ. I love Ryder Strong and Boy Meets World. So did I. The Monkey is here. Synthetic is here. Hey, Synthetic, hope all is well. And Girl Meets World. Never watched Girl Meets World. There was see, I don't see that. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's the problem with a movie like Hostel is there no personality. The first one, it's 3 horny men. The second one, it's 3 horny women. And there's no personality. And it didn't work at all for me, either one of those movies. Any of the 3, actually. Eli Roth is much better in things than as a filmmaker. He's great as the Bear Jew. I would agree. Margarete. I think he's much better in that than any of his films. Watch Thanksgiving, dude. It's awesome. Wow. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. People are putting over Thanksgiving like it is the next coming of Allah. First time I saw Cabin Fever, I didn't know how to feel about it, and I didn't hate it, so I gave it another watch and grew. I'm in the same boat. I would say the first time I watched it, I was probably at a 4, whereas, all these years later, I'm at like a 6. I think it's definitely grown. I don't see it as my good buddy Whopper Horror, Brandon, I was talking to him. I had to ask him because I know this is one of his favorite horror movies ever. And I reached out to him. I was like, man, tell me why. I really want to know why. And he said, it's weird enough. It's quirky enough. There's nothing else quite like it. It's better than anything that's come out the past 5 years. He really put the movie over. And that's coming from Whopper is a blessing. He don't put nothing over. You think I'm stingy? You think I'm tough on film? Talk to Whopper Horror, man. If he says a movie's great, you better fucking shrine that movie up because he is a picky son of a gun. But I appreciate that this is one of his favorites. I think that's so cool. And I know that he and I both like the cover from David Hess's son at the end of The Road Leads to Nowhere. It's so good. The road, it just don't know when. I mean, that song at the end credits is so good. Best thing in Cabin Fever is Serena Vincent. She's gorgeous. And I think she would go on to do quite a few B horror movies. I remember she was in the Return to House on Haunted Hill movie, which wasn't the greatest, but again, always good to see her. Mavs up by 8. Okay, let's go Mavs. The Crazies original blows away Cabin Fever. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't think that's close either, but I don't know if I compare those 2 movies necessarily. I think okay, if Brain Dead / Dead Alive and then Meet the Feebles and Bad Taste, if those are the movies that made Peter Jackson, I think it has glimpse of what makes those 3 movies really good. The same thing with Sam Raimi, Evil Dead. It has a glimpse. It has the setting. It has vibe. It has a little bit of a charm. It just doesn't have that originality. It does have originality, but it doesn't have that thing to put it over the top like those other movies. Like I see Evil Dead as a classic. I see Dead Alive as a horror classic. And again, these are movies that balance the humor and the horror a lot better, in my opinion, than a Cabin Fever does. I just don't think it's on that level, like some guys do. And Whopper Horror is one of them. He totally puts it on that level. So that's cool. Thanksgiving is fun, but far from perfect slasher. And I was mostly impressed by how accurate it looks to the Grindhouse trailer. Okay, cool. I prefer Eli Roth more as an actor than a director. I'm in the same boat. I'm right there with you. If you look closely at the poster for the original movie, it almost looks like a skull. Yeah, and that's basically the gimmick for all of the Cabin Fever posters except the remake. It's supposed to resemble a skull, absolutely. The personality is everyone in the film is so easily turned to evil in the film. The deleted endings show the main characters is finally evil by kidnapping his daughter instead of killing the dad. Which movie are you talking about, Monkey? Personally, I think Thanksgiving is overrated. In fairness, though, I'm not a fan of combed and or horror comedy. Can't believe it took 15 years or something to come up with a script idea. No thanks. Okay, so Miss C shot it down. Miss C hated it. I don't know. Eli Roth is pretty much one for whatever the fuck amount of movies he's done that I've seen. So that's tough for me. I don't know. I'm sort of in the leaning way that I wouldn't like it, but who knows? I'll give it a chance one of these days. I'll have to give it a chance. All these people telling me it's awesome, so I'll always be honest with you guys. But speaking of being honest with you guys, we move on, of course, 7 years down the road to the sequel, to the worst Cabin Fever movie by a mile. And you can't really talk about this movie without the backstory, which I guess I'll, without further ado, introduce it. This is from the year 2009. This is Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. We'll make that a little bit bigger for y'all. And I guess we'll go ahead and read the brief plot synopsis. A high school prom faces a deadly threat, a flesh-eating virus that spreads via a popular brand of bottled water. Oh, boy. Oh, shit, man. I don't know. Where the hell do we start with this piece of shit? I guess the backstory, that's where you have to start with this movie. So basically what happened was Eli Roth had a bunch of ideas to do the sequel. Lionsgate had bought it. And I think what happened was Lionsgate was kind of caught up in the success of Saw. Of course, Cabin Fever came out, was a $1.5 million movie, made about $30 million plus. Then Saw the following year comes out and on a budget of 1.2 grosses over $100 million. They were swimming in Saw. They were riding the Saw train all fucking night long. And they weren't stopping that motherfucker until Paranormal Activity stopped them in this very year that this movie comes out in 2009. It beat the fuck out of Saw 6. And then fuck it, let's do the last one in 3D. I think that's what happened. I think that sidetracked anything that a Cabin Fever sequel would have said or meant or been in like 2004, 2005. I think they were just focused on that. So Eli abandoned it. Eli said, let me go do Hostel, which fucking unfortunate that happened because I hate the Hostel movies. And this movie, again, was kind of left in limbo. They brought in an up-and-comer in Ty West who had done films like The Roost, which sucks, as most of his movies do. They brought Ty West in. I know a lot of people like Ty West. Is another guy I've never been big on. Probably even lower on him than Eli Roth, just me. They brought Ty West in. He came up with this script where he was trying to homage John Waters and Todd Solondz, of all people, which I don't think says body horror Cabin Fever movie, but whatever. I mean, I like Todd Solondz films, but for this, really? And I don't even see any of that prevalent in the film, but maybe there's a reason for that. He wrote this kind of like crazy, gory prom movie with all this body horror and paying homage to John Waters and midnight movies and stuff like this. And he made the movie. And basically, Lionsgate saw his cut and hated it. And they said, sorry, this is not going to fly. We're going to have to do something. We're going to either have to bring in somebody to do reshoots or we're going to bring in an editor of our own. We'll figure it out. So 5 months passes by and Ty West was just sitting with his thumb up his ass. And he said, all right, I'm not waiting anymore. This movie's dead. Like it seems like they've completely don't like my vision. Let me go do something else. And the movie that he ended up doing something else was House of the Devil, which many consider to be his best movie. Again, another movie I don't fucking like, but people love it. People love House of the Devil. So to each their own. As he leaves to make that movie, that's when Lionsgate sneaks in their new editor. That's when Lionsgate sneaks in their second unit to reshoot a lot of the scenes and stuff that, of course, Ty West wanted to do with Cabin Fever 2. And he had no control of it. He had no interaction with it. He had no input. Nobody asked him anything. They just went ahead and started doing shit behind his back, which is wrong. Lionsgate never should have done that. It's fucked up. It's wrong. You hired the man to do a job. And even if you were unhappy with this version, you should have went with it. And if you're going to do reshoots, if you're going to bring in your own editor, you got to do with the guy's blessing or with him on set. I get it. It's Lionsgate's movie. They produced it. It's their, whatever. It's their money. But you hired Ty. You liked his script enough to bring him in and pay him to make the fucking movie. And then you do this underhanded shit. And I do understand, and I do feel bad for Ty. Basically, what happens is they bring these people in. Ty West said, I don't want anything to do with the fucking movie. I want you to put an Alice Smithy on it. And then basically what happened was they said, no, we're not doing Alan Smithy. The Alan Smithy's not legal anymore. Your name's going on it. Of course, at the time, it gave the film horrible fucking publicity because here's a movie that Ty West is attached to. Yeah, House of the Devil's awesome, but most people's standards. And then, obviously he doesn't want any part of this, but it comes out and, you have all these conflicting stories as to what the fuck. It is a shame, and it's something that we have to talk about here. I mean, while I don't think Ty West is great, and I don't think he's really a good filmmaker, I do feel bad for what happened here. But let's play devil's advocate a little bit. Lionsgate saw the original cut of the movie and did not like it. If that's the case, yeah, it is their movie. But I do think they could have worked with him. I think there was just a more friendly, not politically correct, but just right morally way of doing things here. And they didn't do that. They of course, they were swimming in their hundreds of millions in the Saw movies. And they said, oh, we'll bring somebody in. We could polish this up and we'll fix the fucking thing. Unfortunately, what you get is the worst of all four of these movies. It is a piece of fucking shit movie, which is a damn shame. And I know Ty West says if you like the movie, you can't credit him. If you hate the movie, you can't credit him. The way I have always viewed this movie is the first 50 minutes, maybe 50 to 55 minutes is Ty West's movie. You could tell it has that Ty West kind of signature on it. Whereas at the 50, 55 minute mark, that's when it feels like the reshoot started. And that's where it felt like Lionsgate was trying to take this Cabin Fever sequel and make it feel like a Saw movie. That's when we get the extreme gore and, cut off my arm with a saw because I don't want to get the infection. We have that happen. You could clearly tell once the fucking guys in the suits stepped in. And that's a shame. You can see that like a big, big, big shit stain on this entire movie. But of course, let's get to the movie. It's pretty bad. I mean, the movie opens and they promoted it. Ryder Strong. Ryder Strong's in the fucking movie. Holy shit, he's back from Cabin Fever 1. Ryder Strong is dead by the less than 3-minute mark of this movie. We see Ryder Strong wake up. He's fucking walking out to the road. He gets taken out by a bus, and we get the opening Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. And then we see Winston again. He's, oh, no, man, it's just a deer, man. It was just a moose, man. Whatever. And then we get this interesting title sequence where we see that the local reservoir was infected by the disease by Ryder Strong. And now it's all being bottled up and it's going to be passed out to the school on the night of their fucking senior prom. Love the setup. I think that's a great setup for a gore galore horror movie. Now, okay, the body count's going to be up. The gore is going to be up. We could do a real homage to 80s prom movies. There are homages in this to Prom Night. There's homages in it to Carrie. There's no doubt about that. But the movie itself, it does have that interesting animated sequence to lead you through to the opening credits. I thought that was the best part of the movie, was that animated sequence right at the beginning to show you how the water and the disease is being distributed. I thought that was really good. And then we get to the fucking high school, and man, we are just introduced to some of the worst characters I've ever seen in a movie. You have freaking Noah Segan, who went on to be in the Knives Out movies. He's the lead here. He's awful. What a boring, bland, nothing of a protagonist. We have his friend played by Rusty Kelly, who hardly ever went on to act after that as the fucking out of shape friend who's just a dick and a pervert. We have Alexi, what's her name? Alexi Wasser, who, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but she is really unattractive lady. Horrible to look at. I mean, horrible. In a series with otherwise beautiful women, like the first movie, the fucking third movie, and even in the remake had good-looking women in it. This movie has nobody. I mean, oh my God, horrible-looking lady. And we're introduced to all these terrible characters in the school that none of them have charm, none of them have funny lines, none of them, they're just also poorly written. And they're trying so hard to gross you out. Gross out humor. Oh my God. We're dissecting frogs in class and some of the acid got on the fucking pen and somebody put it in their mouth. That's supposed to gross you out. You have one lady, she has the cabin fever disease and she just got dumped by her boyfriend. She's a stripper and she blows the rusty character in the fucking bathroom. And he sees that she has all these like sores on her mouth. And he's like, oh, don't worry, just blow me. Like, I don't care. She also has braces. Fucking stupid. You have some of the weirdest dynamics in the film. Like, we have POV shots of the fucking janitor of the, like, why? And he's a disgruntled janitor who decides to take a fucking piss in the fruit punch bowl that's already infected. Like, just to add on top, oh, you're not just drinking fruit punch that has the cabin fever, flesh-eating skin virus. There's also piss in there, because why not? Gratuity. Yeah. Horrible. You have this fat lady named this overweight lady. I'm sorry. She is obese lady. I don't know. Plump woman. You have her name is Frederica. And for some, I still to this day don't understand the scene. Maybe it was something lost in the reshoots. I don't know. The like popular prom king decides he goes up to her and he's like, hey, Frederica, you're looking really cute. And then tries to have sex with her in the fucking swimming pool. And then she has the disease, her fucking teeth fall out, and then she just drowns for no reason. And he tries to save her fat ass, and he falls in and hits the back of his head. So he doesn't even get the virus. He just hits his head and dies in the pool. He drowns. Like, what? Like, what? Like, I don't understand. Like, and he's like, you know, my friend said you'd be an easy fuck. I'm like, dude, you're fucking the prom queen. Why are you hanging out with this 400-pound lady? Like, what? What? Like, why did this man decide to go hogging? Like, I don't understand it at all. It's so fucking odd. All of it is just so weird. You have the prom scene where they do play the prom night song and everything is all right, prom night, which, again, this is the negative show. Grande, I don't like the fucking prom night movie. I hated the original prom night. Always have. Jesus Christ, this is just a fucking mess, man. This entire movie is just such a mess. And I guess, you know, you really can't blame Ty 100%. And I don't know if you could blame Lionsgate 100%. It just seems like a mess all around. Like his vision met their vision and it just shit the bed. Now, to me, if Lionsgate was smart, if Lionsgate was truly smart, they didn't like Ty West's version. That's fine. If I'm Lionsgate, I'm getting 2 for 1 on my money on this. We don't like Ty's version. We'll send in a guy. We could do the edited version. We could bring in the guy to do reshoots. We could do this shit. Right? Okay. You do that. Then when you release it, because it's going direct to video anyway, it's not like anyone's going to care. Why not do like a 2-disc edition where on disc 1 you get the director's cut, disc 2 you get the Lionsgate cut, for lack of the producer's cut, for lack of a better term. Then you have a whole thing where you could have people go, oh, I like the West cut. Oh, I like the Lionsgate cut. And you could have people argue about it, similar way to how the Marks argue about Halloween 6. Oh, yeah, I like the producer's cut. It explains more. Oh, no, I like the theatrical cut. There's more gore. You know, you could have all the fucking Marks argue all day and charge them double for it. If I'm Lionsgate, and they were smart, they knew how to market. They knew how to run that fucking money train and milk that cow until it couldn't fucking be milked no more. I can't believe they didn't do that here. Instead, they just stepped on everybody's toes. They went in behind everybody's backs and fucking destroyed what maybe could have been a good movie. Granted, I don't think there was any saving this because I don't think Ty West is good anyway. I think his version probably did suck. I don't doubt that the cut that Lionsgate saw sucked. I really don't. And that's the thing that, you know, a lot of people love Ty. I love Ty West. Maxine, X, oh, Pearl. Like, you know, all your fucking Marks in this semi. Let's be honest. You're all in the fucking, oh, Mia Goth. You know, that's what you're doing. It's you can't wait for this show to end. So you get in the fucking semicircle and put your arms around each other and start jerking off to fucking Mia and her fucking gothness. That's what you're waiting to do. Oh, you Ty West motherfuckers. Oh, X was so good. I can't believe. Have you seen X? Yeah, I've seen X. It's called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Eat Alive meets a fucking shitty porno. That's what I've seen. That's what I saw. All 4 of my fucking eyes. That's what I saw. Come on. I don't doubt that whatever the fuck he put in this movie, whatever his cut was, probably fucking sucked too. That's where, the whole disconnect where people, Lionsgate, it was fucking wrong. Morally, no matter how I feel about Ty West, it was morally wrong. But if you're smart, why don't you fucking do what you did anyway? Say, hey, we're going to bring in somebody. We're going to do our cut of the movie, bygones, but we're still going to release yours. It's still going to be on fucking disc one. And we thank you for the work that you did. You hired them, you motherfuckers. And then it was going direct to video anyway. It wasn't like this was a big theatrical fucking thing. It wasn't like, we're afraid we're going to lose people in the theater. This didn't go to a fucking theater. I look at this. This was a fucking cursed movie. And what do I mean by that? They were going to show this movie early at a festival. It was like not a festival. It was at a horror convention. They fucking had this whole auditorium. I forget where it was. It might have been a Horror Hound, might have been a Fright Night. I don't remember what convention it was. But they fill out this auditorium of people. We're going to show Cabin Fever 2. All the marks are getting ready. And the disc broke. The disc of Cabin Fever 2 that they were going to show broke. And they couldn't show the film. If that doesn't say your movie's got bad karma, if that doesn't say your movie is fucking cursed, I don't know what fucking does. If that happened to me, I would have said shelve this forever, lock it up, and hope it never sees the fucking light of day. And I wish that would have happened because this is a piece of shit and I wasted an hour and 20-something minutes of my fucking life rewatching it. There is a needless subplot of fucking Winston walking around town. Oh, here's Winston meeting Judah Freelander. Here's Winston meeting fucking, oh my God, what's his fucking name? I can't, Larry Fessenden. Here's Winston and Larry Fessenden meeting in a pancake house. Larry Fessenden has no lines, and oh my God, he bleeds to death from the virus while he's eating pancakes. Whoa. What a mess. What a fucking mess. The SWAT team comes in by the end of it. The whole prom scene where we're finally going to get our gore reel. We have people throwing up blood into each other's mouths and faces. What, like, it's just, and it's poor. And again, it felt like the disease took a back seat to like the government when they pop in and start shooting people. Like, what? Like, why is the SWAT team here? Like, weird, man. And then people start cutting their limbs off like it's fucking Saw. What a mess. What an absolute mess. Lionsgate, I do think, is the main problem. They are the main culprit here because they wanted it to be something it wasn't. They had their heads so far up the Saw ass that they didn't know where fucking Cabin Fever 2 began and Saw ended. They just couldn't figure it out. And I do think they drowned this film. But like I said, at the same time, I can only imagine what Ty West's cut would have been. And I know probably people would have gravitated towards that because we just tend to lean towards the filmmaker and their vision and shit like that. And I totally get that. And I'll probably maybe have been in the same boat if there were two cuts of this movie. And I think, like I said, if they were smart, 2-disc special edition, you want both cuts, we're going to hit them $10 more a disc, $10 more a disc. This sold like monkey shit on DVD. I don't even think it grossed $1 million on DVD. And it was like a $5 million movie. And that's before reshoots. So this was a huge bomb for them. They ended up, I think, selling the rights. So Cabin Fever 3 is not Lionsgate project. It's just a shame. It really is a shame. This is something that was a good idea on paper. You had an up-and-comer in Ty West, which, again, for all the things I don't like about him, people seem to like him. People really enjoy his work. That's cool. That's awesome. That's great. Maybe you robbed those people of what would have been a really, really good cult classic sequel. And it's a age-old tale of how Hollywood's fucked up. You look at why Hollywood's fucked up, you look no further than the spring fever right here. But let's get to comments. I've been yapping for far too long. I'm sorry. I tend to get passionate about these things. I think we were here. Funny enough, the Whopper Horror checked in right after I mentioned them. Thanksgiving is terrible, but yes, Cabin Fever is gold. I have almost no doubt I would agree with you on Thanksgiving, but it seemed like everybody telling me it's great. So I'll have to sacrifice Whopper. But I'll tell you one thing: if I hate it, I can't wait to message you after and tell you about it. People saying I don't Whopper. The skull motif is much better than the famous Salvador Dali skull image made of nude women. Okay. I didn't know you hated Hostel. I was saying that's the personality in the first Hostel film. I think it's a film I love, but you hate. Oh, it is. I hate Hostel with a passion. What do you mean? You don't like watching a girl walk around a house doing fucking nothing. The house of fucking boredom. Yeah, that's fucking House of the Devil with fucking Jocelyn Donahue. I'm Jocelyn Donahue playing billiards. I'm Jocelyn Donahue ordering an olive-covered pizza that I'm going to rub all over my fucking yits. I wish that had happened because nothing else happens in fucking House of the Devil. Oh my God, here's Tom Noonan. I can pay you $50 for the night. You see his fucker's weird. Get the fuck out of it. Oh, I'll never understand why people like that movie. What's going on at Hearst Hill? There have been so many posters featuring a skull, such as the poster of The Descent, also the poster for Silence of the Lambs. Todd Solondz Happiness was great. Absolutely. I didn't see any Todd Solondz in this fucking movie. Maybe that's a big part of what they cut out. Like, because Todd Solondz wrote good characters. And there's not one good character in this fucking movie. I don't know if they're going for the awkwardness, because there's some awkwardness in Solondz films. But the whole thing with Solondz film, it's like they're raw characters, but they're real in a way, and there's just no punches pulled, and they have no empathy. These characters are all just a bunch of fucking assholes or idiots. I don't see any Solondz. I see Waters. I see Waters' influence. I don't see one character that remind me of a Solondz movie. Ty West has made some of the worst horror films ever made. I would agree with that. Should have wanted his name off the Innkeepers and the House of the Devil too. Yes. Oh, I should have had you on for this. We could have took a collective shit on the marks in their semicircle. Ryder Strong character dying in the movie is almost like Alice dying in Friday the 13th Part 2. Yes. Yeah, it is very similar to that. But he's first billed, like, fuck Lionsgate for that too, because they made it seem like in the market that he was going to be in the movie, like the whole movie. It's like, he's the first one billed. It's like, oh shit, like, is he going to find a cure? Like, is Ryder Strong going to be in the whole thing? Like, what's going to happen? Is Ryder Strong going to be our crazy Ralph character? Don't drink the water, you know? I don't know. The whole bottled water idea, I think, is a good idea. That's a great way to have it spread because everybody drinks bottled water. But like, even that, there's no tension there. It's just a bad joke. That's the problem with Cat Fever 2. It's just a bad fucking joke, man. The real question is, how many nights did it take you to finish Cat Fever? 2. It took me 2. I got 20 minutes in the first night and turned it off. I get angry and I'm like, no, I can't do it. Mernsey says, this one's so much fun. LMAO, it's all over the place, but oh man, just wild. All right, Mernsey seemed to be a big fan of this one. I apologize. I didn't even know they made a Captain Fever sequel. Well, you know what? You're a luckier man than I am. Only saw the poster, but never bothered to see it. Hearst, again, you're smarter, luckier man than I am. Juno 2000's in the Heezy. Hey, Grande and everyone. Captain Fever is an awesome movie, and the sequel and the remake are complete dog shit. I have no disagreement there. I don't know if I'd say the first one's awesome, but it's definitely better. Like I said, it's the original Nightmare on Elm Street compared to this fucking movie. Juno 2000. Ty West made better movies after this bullshit sequel. Yeah, that's true. This is probably his worst movie, and that's saying a lot because Ty West has made some shit. Well, the sequel to Prom Night is basically a Nightmare on Elm Street movie because you have the prom queen who accidentally burned to death and who just returns years later to, okay, fair enough. The movie with the best random camera angles and POV shots is From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money. Does it have split screens? It does not. No, it doesn't replicate De Palma's greatness in Carrie, but they definitely are trying to do that. Like, there's a scene with the prom queen, which, again, if you see it, whatever, you'll know what I mean. But like, I don't know. I didn't think that worked either. It's just a movie that like everything just fails in it. Like that, like, oh, let's show the disgruntled janitor, a POV shot of the disgruntled janitor, and then he's gonna piss in the like fruit punch bowl. Wow, I'm disgusted. No, it's just stupid. It's like, what do I? There's already a flesh-eating virus in there. What is pissing on top of it have to do? You're pissing on our faces. Yeah, it's just that's bad gratuity. That's bad over the top. The semicircle, yeah, chirking it to my Ty West. Fucking Mernsey just busted out the Innkeepers. Yeah, Sarah Paxton, baby. H6 fucking sucks, both cuts. I don't understand what the fucking fascination is for that movie. Like, there's so many people like, oh, like that is a movie that is talked about way too much. LMAO Grande's ran off fat chicks and Ty West is a big woman myself. I'm in trouble. Well, no, I'm sorry. I don't mean anything like negatively towards bigger women. I just didn't understand why the prom king was like, oh, I want to have sex with this 400-pound lady in the pool. Like, what? Like, I just don't understand it. I have no idea. Unless I missed something, I have no idea why that scene even happens. The guy peeing in the punch was the grossest scene in the movie. and make you go, what the fuck is the most random scene? Yeah, but in like a bad way, I thought. Oh shit. Cinephile saying hi to Juno, the co-host, one co-host to the other. Hey Sean, very excited for my first stream tomorrow night. Oh, congratulations. Good luck on that, man. Student Bodies is hilarious. I love Student Bodies. Student Bodies is fucking awesome. The bus in the poster kind of reminds me of the plot to Jeepers Creepers 2, while Jeepers Creepers 2 is like way better than this. Student Bodies and Saturday 14th is such fun horror comedies. I like Student Bodies a lot. Saturday 14th I couldn't get into. The prom guy after he fucked Frederica and he had the most laughable death where he hit. Yeah, he didn't even die from the virus. It's fucking weird. Do you hate Ty West just like Adam Green, Don Fettuccine? Oh, Jesus. Adam Green is pretty bad, but even Adam Green made Frozen, and I like Frozen. I hate Hatchet movies, but I would say Frozen's better than anything Ty West ever done. Don Mancini, I don't hate as much as you do. I would probably put him over Ty West. I don't know. It's fuck. Those three guys, you talk about three like worthless fucking like one good movie between those three guys as far as direction goes. But I do really like the first three Child's Play movies, which were, had Don Mancini. I know not the first one as much, but the second and third one definitely were his babies too. The night guard scene with Winston is very funny, where Winston wants to know the date. I don't know, the only thing with the Judah Freelander scene that I thought was funny was he was like, he's like, hey man, and Judah Freelander says something like, oh, I didn't know she was underage. I always believe what children tell me. I thought that was the only line of the entire movie that made me laugh. I thought that was funny. Thoughts on ABCs of Death? Funny you ask about that, because I believe the next movie had a guy that did a segment on the ABCs of Death. So interesting enough. I'm not surprised Eli Roth wasn't involved in this bullshit, but involved the crappy ass movie. Well, it would have been interesting if Eli Roth had got to make the Cabin Fever 2 he had wanted to. Like, I wonder, in another world, if Lionsgate didn't have their head so far up Saw's ass and they greenlight Cabin Fever 2 in like 2004, 2005, Hostel doesn't happen like until maybe years later. I wonder what I've never heard Eli Roth talk about this movie. I could not find any interviews of him talking about Cabin Fever 2. I don't know what he thinks of the movie. I'm assuming he thinks it sucks. But I don't know. I really don't know. His name is on this as a producer. He definitely got a paycheck from this movie. I don't doubt that. But I don't know. It's kind of a shame. Frozen, let it go. Absolutely, let it go. Although I do love the horror movie, Frozen. Does Winston keep talking about partying? Yes, he does. Absolutely. But it's not, I don't know. It's a subplot that completely just feels worthless in the movie. Like, it doesn't lead to anything. And like I was saying, how the intro is all this animation, the outro is the same thing. They have the outro is they play more shitty animation where you could tell the tacked on scene is in this strip club where they had the lady from the beginning who's totally fine, still not bleeding at all, just has the sores around her lip. She's given a lap dance and you see she infects everybody in there, and they show like 4 different animations of how this is going to spread throughout the world because of this one stripper. And the joke at the end, I should have went to prom. Instead of going to prom, the whole world is infected and going to have this flesh-eating virus because everybody's an idiot. Again, too little too late. And it just, the animation at the end was way shittier than the animation at the beginning. I don't know if that had to be part of the reshoots. Like, you could just tell that there was no director's stamp on any of that shit after like the 55 minute mark. It just became somebody else's movie, unfortunately. I miss talking about the first film, but do you think Winston should have got killed by Rodder Strong or not? No, Winston's the only good character, like, in this, like, I would say consistently good character. So no, I don't think he should have killed him at all. Cabin Fever 2 was a quick one and done and immediately erased from my memory. Good for you. Bye all. Synthetic checking out. Synth, thank you for showing up. Cabin Fever 2 gets a 1 out of 10 for me. I hate this movie. I think it's easily the worst movie we're going to be talking about tonight. In another world, the Eli Roth version was released and we were all living the uncut version of Suicide Squad instead of the shit one we got. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't know. I certainly do, out of curiosity, and I it's gonna sound crazy for me saying this, I do want to see the cut that they rejected from Ty just to fucking laugh. But like, at the same time, you'll never get the Ty West cut of this movie. I'm assuming that Lionsgate just destroyed it. Because he just really, they just pretty much blackballed him. They were like, yeah, thanks for coming in. And that was it. Like, they shoot him away and go shoot House of the Devil. We won't do anything. And, obviously they made the movie that they made. So it is what it is. But Cabin Fever 2 Spring Fever is just the drizzling shits. Absolutely horrible movie. Of course, we didn't see another movie until 5 years later, where the rights had changed. Of course, we had a new studio, of course, taking over, and they decided, why don't we make Cabin Fever 3 a prequel? Instead of calling it Cabin Fever 0, we'll call it Cabin Fever Patient Zero. Yes, Cabin Fever Patient Zero, which I don't know if I have much to say about this movie, to be perfectly honest. This is going to be a really quick review. When a group of friends enjoying a bachelor cruise in the Caribbean stumble upon a research facility on a remote island, a deadly virus is unleashed. The group must find a way to survive before the flesh-eating virus consumes them all. Cabin Fever Patient Zero. I would say it's a slight step up from the second movie, but it's still a pretty bad film. At least we have attractive women back in this movie. Like, I hate to say that's as a positive, but it is. Like, Jillian Murray might be the most good-looking woman in all of these movies. She's beautiful in this. We have some scientists that wear, like, very revealing clothing. And basically the plot for this movie is we're on an island. We have one guy celebrating his, like, bachelor's party with just, like, his 4 best friends. And Sean Astin is on the other part of this island, and he's being held captive by these scientists because he's known as Patient Zero. And this is obviously a prequel to Cabin Fever 1, where the virus hasn't broken out yet, but, you know, Sean Astin has, you know, DNA that could stop this. And that is what it is. So interesting. I mean, definitely, I don't think as interesting as the prom setup of the previous movie, but I do think it's a little bit better executed. In step to the director's chair was Kari Andrews, who, again, I think had done like an ABC of Death short, I believe, before this. So, you know, in steps Rudy and fucking, you know, Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings, which, like I was saying before, they showed the original on the set of Lord of the Rings, and Sean Astin ends up being in the third movie. So weird enough. It's not a case where he's in the movie for 3 minutes. Like, that's what I thought when I first watched this. I was like, oh man, Sean Astin will be in this movie for 2 minutes, and it's just they put him on his name on it. No, he's in the movie a fair amount. It's like 2 subplots. It's him on one side, and they're trying to convince him, hey, you know, we could use your blood to stop this virus before it spreads, and we really need you to cooperate. Meanwhile, they have his son held captive, or so we think, when in reality the son is really gone. And we have this weird, like, dictator scientist guy and all of his hot, sexy assistants that are scientist women with their yits out. Why not? And then on the other side of the island, like I said, we have somebody celebrating their bachelor party, and slowly but surely they all getting infected because the water on that island is infected with the flesh-eating virus. And we see people start to deteriorate like we have in the other films. Like I said, the characters, not much to run home about here. We have this whole thing where the guy getting married, he kind of his brother's girlfriend, played by Jillian Murphy, she loves him and wants to fuck him, is like taking her yits out in front of him. She's like, please, I don't love your brother. He's just a boy. You're a man. And you have shit like that where it's like, this is the character development we're getting. We do, I think in this movie, I will say this, you get the turning on each other a little bit better here than even in the original movie. I think the way they turned on each other, I thought that was executed a little bit better. But as far as a movie, it's just such a straight to Sci-Fi Channel movie. There's nothing really, is nothing high budgeted about it. It doesn't look particularly good. The acting is not particularly good. It's just really, it just screams sci-fi direct to video or direct to Sci-Fi Channel at 9 p.m. movie. I don't know. It's not much fun. You do see some nudity. You do see some good looking women. So right then and there, I'd give it a step above Cabin Fever 2. But again, it's just not the most interesting thing in the world. It kind of meanders. It has a kind of shitty pace. I would say of the first 3 movies, it has the weakest pace. It's definitely, you feel the length of it a little bit. I don't know. This is just a movie. I don't have much to say about it. It's just kind of there. Like, I rewatched for the show, kind of in one ear, out the other. It happened. There is, and I want to shout out Mernsy, because Mernsy and me were talking about this, because Mernsy thinks this is an amazing movie. And I saw he commented, but I didn't read it. Mernsy loves this movie. There is a scene in the third act, which I thought was the best scene in the movie because it was just fucking insane, where the fucking one of the lead scientists is trying to get off the island because she has this fucking disease. then she runs into Cillian Murphy, who brought along a giant black dildo with her. And they proceed to catfight. They're ripping each other's skin off. And then the end of the fight results in one bashing the other over the head with a giant black dildo. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, just absolutely crazy how they fucking beat the fucking shit out of each other and just like deteriorate. I thought the whole movie, leading up to that was kind of shitty. And then that one catfight, I was like, all right, at least you have this crescendo. At least you have this fun catfight with like all this gore and then somebody getting their fucking face bashed in with a sex toy. Like, okay, at least, I don't know, it's something. It's not great, but it's something. I would say it's a little bit better in that regard. But let's see what you guys have to say, because I really don't have much more to say on this movie. Patient Zero was okay. It at least a time waster than the second. It's better than the second movie, but it's not saying much. From bad to worse, I would say this is from worse to like terrible. Like, Whopper told me to watch this and I loved it. It's so much fun. Great gore. Does Whopper like this movie? I'm shocked. I'm shocked if he likes this movie. That's fucking shocking to me. It feels strange as a prequel. It does. It should have just been the disease is outbroken. Everyone's getting it. Here we got this guy, but we held his son captive. And because we didn't, do right by his son, everyone else is going to. That's the story I should have told. But instead, they do this weird thing where he's not cooperating. The movie ends where there's three survivors. Sean Astin's one of them. They're on the boat, and he purposely gives them the virus because and like the whole world is fucked and the whole world's going to get infected, all because of his grief over losing his son. And the people that came in there and saved him, they didn't do anything wrong. And he's like, nope, yeah, you're going to get my flesh eating virus too, just because I'm pissed. I didn't like that. I was like, why would you make the sympathetic character unsympathetic as the movie ends? Like, he just says, fuck the human race just because. I hated that. And I know that had this sold well on DVD, which it didn't, I don't even think it sold $700,000 worth of DVDs, which is pretty fucking bad. I think had this done well on DVD, they were going to greenlight another sequel on a cruise. It was going to be Cabin Fever 4 on a cruise. I am so glad that didn't fucking happen. Like, thank fucking Jeebus. I don't understand why, like, Final Destination 6 was going to be on a cruise. They had that horrible movie, Ghost Shit. Do you anybody remember Ghost Shit on the cruise? That fucking ghost cruise movies don't generally work, man. I don't know. Don't make fucking horror movies on a cruise, other than maybe Jason Takes Manhattan. If you ever watch that Disney Channel show Sunny with a Chance, Cillian Murray, who appeared in the movie, played Porthon, who was the right-hand girl for the Argentine heartthrob Chad Dylan Cooper. Wow, I didn't know any of that, but she's a beautiful lady for sure. That's definitely a good-looking woman. I don't get what connected the first film, because the hermit dog was affected with the virus and the first one infected. I think they're trying to insinuate that like through some way that dog gets it through something Sean Astin did, I guess. I don't know. This should have just been a sequel, though. This should have just been taking place after the second movie. But I guess after the second movie, there's nowhere to go because it's such a piece of shit. And after the end of the second movie, you would think there's never going to be any stopping this. It's spread forever. Like, it's going to Mardi Gras, it's going to Mexico. That's what they insinuate at the end of the piece of shit Cabin Fever 2. Sean Astin was in Stranger Things, and you see him in the hospital scrubs as he saves the day before his flesh being ripped to shreds. That's right. The movies does have the same decent practical effects. Yeah. It's good that Cabin Fever did well at the box office, but I don't think they should have tried franchising it with the BS they came out with. I agree. And I think, like, okay, I understand why I want to do one sequel, because they made the money they did, but you didn't strike the iron while it was hot. You waited 7 years to come out with the second one. There was no demand for it. There was no want for it. The want and time for it, the time that window of opportunity was open, had passed. That window had shut. It was nailed shut. Why did you do Cabin Fever 2? And then on top of all of that, you didn't like the cut that the guy you hired made, and then, we'll fix it. Not like just abandon the movie at that point, or release it and say, we're done. Cabin Fever's done. We're going to sell it. And they did sell it. And then this of course, studio wanted to re-release, a new movie. So go figure. I agree with Sean. Yeah, it should have been one and done. I completely agree with both of you. I do think it should have been one. Oh yeah, it's amazing. Never eating pussy again. Oh, it's right. Yeah, there's a scene where the one guy's eating the Jillian girl out, and like, obviously gets all the fucking blood and fucking shit on his lips. Fucking dildo fights. That's how this movie ends. There's a fucking giant dildo fight. Can't fight over black dildo. Okay, Grande, you sold me. I'm glad that sells somebody on this fucking thing. Ginger Ninja's in the house. Yo, love the OG Cabin Fever. Sequels are ... man. Yeah, to say the least. See, Ginger Ninja's a lot nicer guy than me and very much more humble with how he says movies aren't the greatest. Although your Wrong Turn 3 review was everything I wanted it to be, because you were just, oh my God, what a defeated review that was, man. I was crying laughing. But I get the whole fuck the human race thing. I do and I don't, because these people were nice enough to break in there and save his ass. And because he never would have got out of there without them. And then fucking fuck the human race. Like, my son's gone. I want everybody to die. Like, I don't know. And they do that shit in like Rosin and shit. I don't know. I don't like that whole thing. I thought that was too much, maybe a little bit too far. And they definitely should not have remade it. Well, we're about to get there. 7 years after the original isn't even relevant anymore. Stupid. Yeah, exactly. I think they just waited too long. To do it. And then once the second movie bombed, ban and chip, call it a day. We tried, it didn't fucking work. I will say, if there's any Cabin Fever movie that you're going to watch that's not the first one, I would lean towards this one. I would say Cabin Fever Patient Zero is the best after the original. Although that's like saying, it's not really saying much. Thoughts on Stranger Things season 5? I don't watch Stranger Things. I don't give a shit. Yeah, Sean, they done that stupid shit. Cube having a sequel and a prequel. Yeah, it's just dumb. And then, of course, they're going to do the movie on the fucking cruise, which thank Jeebus they didn't do. Cabin Fever Patient Zero, it's like a 3, like a 3 out of 10. It's just such a Sci-Fi Channel original movie. I don't know. I don't see a fucking point. I really don't. I don't. If you really want to see that great fight at the end, be my guest. But man, it's just not it. Whew. Which brings us to the final movie of the evening. 14 years later, for some reason, they decided, of course, Cabin Fever 2 was a bomb. Cabin Fever Patient Zero was a bomb. Why not make another sequel on a cruise? Let's fucking remake a movie that's 14 years old. And what did they do in 2016? They remade it. Cabin Fever from 2016. This was it, of course, to date, and let's hope this is it forever. While staying in a remote cabin for a week-long vacation, a group of 5 college friends succumbed to an infectious flesh-eating disease. This is one of the most pointless movies. The way that the new Strangers movie is getting shit on and being called pointless and shitty and why, what was the point? I think this movie deserves that backlash even more so. I didn't like the new Strangers movie, and I will actually talk about it in a couple of weeks on the show when I do the State of the Genre address of 2024. This was just terrible, though. This was pointless, ballless, emotionless, monotonous, just a piece of shit all around. What a pointless fucking movie. Basically, let's remake the original Cabin Fever and take all of the personality and quirkiness out of it. And on paper, to a guy like me that had a problem with the balancing of the goofiness meeting the horror in the original film, on paper, I might sign up for that. Now, I didn't, and I wouldn't have had I, heard at the time. This was something that just dropped and I saw and was like, holy shit. But on paper, yeah, that does sound interesting. What if we just made it a serious horror movie? Dude, it is 100 times worse than the original movie. It is just so fucking bad. The lead actors especially are just such a downgrade from that original 5. You have Gage Golightly as Karen, terrible. You have Matthew Daddario, I think the brother of Alexandra Daddario. I mean, he was a bump on a pickle. Sam Davis, Dustin Ingram, terrible. Maybe the lady playing the Serena Vincent role, the Nadine Crocker, maybe she was okay. Of all 5 of them, she's maybe the only one that could act. Let's replace Winston with a fucking blonde woman who has a scar under her eye. Whoa. I know how we just replace Giuseppe Andrews. Let's make him a fucking blonde lady. What? Oh, hey, you're the party man. You're the party man. She's trying to get this horrible Southern accent. Hey, the party man, the party man. I'm like, shut this bitch up, man. And what was the point? Because they didn't change anything. They didn't really change much. They just took the humor out of it. It was like zap of the humor, zap of the personality, zap of the fucking any kind of energy, and just insert monotony, boredom, just nothing. There's just nothing to be had here. It's just such a pointless fucking movie. It's very similar to like the Psycho remake or this latest Stranger movie. That really what it reminds me of. It's like it's a remake, but we changed maybe 3 things. Again, same thing. Same person gets infected first with the friends, the Karen character. It's the same, the oopsie finger bang scene, whatever. Instead of the over the top dialogue of Bert yelling, "You fucking slut, stay in this room," of the original, it's stay in the room. I'm trying to be a good guy. You know, they just toned down the dialogue, which I was like, okay, again, all of the people in the town, like the general store owner, the weird guy and his son, all of them, they didn't feel as organic or as genuine. It just completely, they missed what made that part of the movie work. Like that organic, we hired these fucking people that work in North Carolina, general stores to do these parts. They weren't really actors. That's what they missed here. I mean, they just missed charm. They didn't have any of that here. They changed a handful of things. They, instead of homaging Last House on the Left or Evil Dead, they homaged The Shining. Whoa, we were talking about The Shining last week. The opening shot is them driving in a car, just like The Shining, up a road, and they play The Shining music. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you bring The Shining's good name into this shit? Like, oh my God, I almost fucking jumped off the couch and like did a suicide dive through the fucking TV. What the hell? Like, what did The Shining? Why did you have to bring The Shining into this, man? Like, who the fuck did they piss off? Oh, Jesus. Really weird. Just weird, man. Again, the characters have no fucking personality. Some of them die in kind of different ways. Like in the original movie, the Jordan Ladd character, she's decayed to such a point where, Ryder Strong puts her out of her misery, bashes her head in. And this is the same thing. She's, "Oh, kill me, just kill me, please kill me." And he goes to shoot her, he's out of bullets. Then he goes to beat her at face in, doesn't do it enough. Then he goes to chop her head off, doesn't cut deep enough. Then he sets her on fire. Like, and it's like, is that supposed to be fucking funny? Is it supposed to be scary? Like what? Like he couldn't put her out of her misery quickly? Like what? Like so weird. Instead of the kid yelling pancakes, one of the opening lines is somebody yelling pancakes as their dog has been infected and the dog's name is Pancakes. What? Oh God, this is just a mind-boggling film. I watched this the other night. It is a waste of your time. It is an absolute waste of your time, especially if you're somebody like Whopper Horror, who heralds the original film as one of his favorite horror movies. And I do know there are a lot of people that do like the original Cabin Fever. That's awesome, and like consider it one of their all-time favorites. That's cool. If you consider it that good, I couldn't imagine how much you'd hate this, because I am like middle or like 6 out of 10 on the original, and I fucking hate this. So I couldn't imagine somebody who loves the original movie, like how much they would hate this, like the venom that they would spew after seeing this movie. It's just, oh my God, so fucking poor. Gets a 3.7 on IMDb. I do think this might have played theatrically in some places. Like, I don't think part 2 played anywhere theatrically. Cabin Fever 3 might have played in like 4 theaters theatrically. This, I think, got a decent release because IFC had put this out. So I think this might have played in like IFC theaters at least. But man, I don't know. This was just a really, really, really weak remake. There's just not, it's like, if you've seen the original, you've seen this, but you've seen it done better. And like, while again, I have been lukewarm on the original movie, I do think this shows you primarily that it can be done worse. That same story, that same movie, that same script, they didn't even use a new script. It's the same script, can be done so much worse. And you see it right here. This is a worse version of that same exact script where they just zapped the movie of all of its charm. And instead just add these monotonous, boring idiot characters that couldn't act or do anything right. I despise this movie. This is such a bad remake. It's got to be in the bottom 10, bottom 5 remakes ever made. There's no doubt. Like it's like Fog level bad of a remake. That's how bad this is. I would say Elm Street still tops it because again, I look at Elm Street like Whopper looks at Cabin Fever 1. So I see the Elm Street remake as just so much more of a disgrace than, maybe the average person that thinks the original Elm Street's just good, But with someone who loves the OG, man, you'd hate this. Oh man, there's not even really a point to go into it because you've seen it. It's the same shit, man. I don't know. Oh God, Cabin Fever Cruise Control starring Steven Seagal. Hell yeah, let's do it. The remake is a straight up piece of shit. I can't believe Eli Roth was involved. Buddy, money talks. I'm sure they gave him a fat paycheck to use his fucking script, and he just took it because his career was, where was Eli Roth's career? This was the year after Knock Knock. Knock Knock didn't do shit. Yeah, I'll take the money so I can make a Death Wish remake with Bruce Willis. Great. Oh, now that's interesting, Monkey. Yeah, I would take that over the shit we got. This movie deserved a flesh-eating virus. As Juno 2000 would say, this is a piece of shit. Yes, it is. It is a piece of shit remake. Seagal would say yes. Oh my God, of course he would say yes. I would love to see Steven Seagal versus Cabin Fever on a cruise. That would be great. Madeline Patch, of course. Is this one of the worst remakes to you? Yeah, it is. It is. I do think it would be amplified if I loved the original. I really do. Like, if you loved the original, I could see you thinking this is the worst remake ever made. It's definitely top 3 most pointless. Like, they didn't change anything. Like, this is just like Psycho, just like that New Strangers movie, like, where they didn't change shit. Like the New Strangers, okay, we got 2 better lead actors, and the rest is the same movie. Like, that's the only improvement I would give the New Strangers over that first movie, which I don't like the first Strangers, so that's maybe why that blow is softened. Same here, but I still think they're both horrible movies. I thought the remake of Winston character changing the gender was lame, and they got rid of the humor. Oh, dude, man, they completely I know Giuseppe Andrews went missing, and I love Giuseppe Andrews. I hope Giuseppe Andrews never sees this movie. Like, if he's missing, stay missing. Don't ever fucking, man, what they casted me with some blonde bitch, man. I'm the party man. I saved myself the trouble watching this one. Most sequels are pointless for me. I don't need to see this shit. You really don't. You've seen Cabin Fever 1, Sean. This is it done worse with no humor. That's the only, and worse, way worse acting. Like, these actors were like a terrible ensemble. So yeah, no, I wouldn't waste your time on this shit. I really wouldn't. I came across the remake. I watched maybe 10, 15 minutes. The beginning reminded me of the Psycho remake. Yeah, it is. It is exactly like the Psycho remake. Exactly. With way less money and even worse actors. The poster in the movie kind of reminds me of the opening to the classic movie Vertigo, because we don't know whose eyes they belong to. Wow. Okay. So Slasher Fred's throwing out saying that a part of this reminds him of Vertigo. That's crazy. You're not missing much, Sean. It's a boring piece of shit film with awful actors. Changing Winston's character to a female was lame, and it lost the humor that Andrew. It lost, yeah, it did. It lost that charm. It really did. And as much as I thought the charm was a little bit overdone in the first movie, that's what gave that film a personality. Like what I've been saying before. That's, love it or hate it, that makes that film distinctly that film. Whereas this movie has no identity. It's just a carbon copy that got fucked up in the copy machine. Hey, Grande, just wanted to say hi briefly. Kubrick lover, welcome, my friend. Cabin Fever remake, Brown Down. Yes, it's a piece of shit. Another turd from IFC. And I like some IFC films, but man, this is not one of them. This is one to avoid. This movie just had Sci-Fi Channel quality. See, I think the third one has the most Sci-Fi Channel quality to it. This, looked on something that would play, direct to either, I think Showtime, or it definitely looked like they had more of a budget. Like from a technical standpoint, I don't think the movie looks bad. It doesn't look cheap, but there's no creativity here. It's just, there's no originality. It's just a fucking copy, and a bad one at that. Apparently, the box office said this brought in just under 40 grand. Yep, which hopefully means they will never fucking touch Cabin Fever again. Well, we can only hope. After the analysis of your reviews, I guess I'll watch the first one. I would be very curious to what you think of the first one. I do think you can watch, if you have HBO Max, you could watch the first 2. I stream them all legally. I don't own them. I think if if you could find Cabin Fever, the original, for cheap, I think it's on like Orbit DVD for $10. That's worth a Blu-ray. It's worth a blind buy at least. It would never be a movie that if they put a 4K out of it that I would buy. I know they do reunions of the original Cabin Fever movie with the entire cast other than Giuseppe Andrews. A lot of people, it seems to be a big cult movie now. I would love to know your thoughts, Mateo. So yeah, if you watch it, please let me know what you think, because I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on the original. The original Cabin Fever is milestone better than this boring. Yes, it is. It is a way better movie than this remake, and it's way better than the two sequels. It's so weird. It's like, I love the concept. I really wonder, like, in the hands of somebody else, if it could have been great. But this franchise, which never should have been, shows you it could have been so much worse in the hands of other people too. So sometimes you just got to kind of count your blessings, I guess. Good night, Double G. Must walk the pug. Good night in the chat. Ciao. Hurst Hill, awesome. Always happy to have you in the house. Awesome. Go and walk with the pug. Good night, Hurst. The thing about Cabin Fever is that it causes people to get all freaked out. Sure, halves up by 27. Let's go. Sci-Fi Channel used to show some really classic movies when it first came out. Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know. Just now it has that reputation of being like the Sharknado channel, if you will, or the giant cobra versus anaconda thing. I don't know, but great show, homie. Thank you. This remake, I would give a 1 out of 10. You have 2 1 out of 10s in this franchise, so you have to avoid it. The only one worth watching is the first one. Maybe the prequel if you're really daring. At least you get to see a good looking woman naked and a giant cat fight with a big sex toy at the end. So maybe, just maybe, it's worth it. I really enjoy the original, even though the characters are complete dumbasses, but the gore and humor made the movie, and Winston's the best character in the film. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's totally fair. I'm kind of in the same boat. I think you like the original a little bit more than me, but again, passable movie. It's just not, I've grown on it. I definitely have grown on it. And I see, again, that charm of the up-and-comer that Eli Roth was before he kind of became, I don't want to say corporate, but yeah, corporate Eli, if you will. Like, once he got this, like, Hostel, I think he completely lost all those humble beginnings for me. I love those Mega Python, Mega Shark movies. Yeah. The moral of the Cabin Fever franchise is to not go beyond the first movie unless you're experiencing sheer boredom and looking for some shit to watch. Yes, that's the moral. And like I said, the real moral, you think the original is not the greatest. After you see the sequels, it makes the original look way better. Like, that's definitely true. Like, it brings the original up a level or two. But yeah, that's going to be all for the show tonight. Unless anyone has anything else they want to talk about. Like I said, we cut last week's runtime in half, so I'm glad we did a little bit quick. Sorry if this was a little bit of jumping around, stuff like that. Just kind of wanted to get my thoughts off my chest here. So it is what it is. But next week on Grinde's Graveyard, I give a brief preview for that. It's the worst horror ideas ever made. Yes, we'll be talking about haunted Skype chats, haunted cursed video games. I'm very excited to talk about the worst ideas that horror films have ever come up with, and it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about that. Imagine they would not have greenlit the sequel of Cabin Fever if they hired Corey instead of Sean. I don't know. Cabin Fever are known as the pre-COVID movies. Yeah, it's funny. I think Synth Addict mentioned before, like, I see The Crazies as way more of a pre-COVID movie than these. I guess the flesh-eating virus part of it is why I don't see it that way. But, like, at the same time, I get it, like the whole spreading a disease thing, Cabin Fever typo. Next Thursday is my birthday. Awesome, man. Happy early birthday. Only on the Graveyard. Two Sweet Peas. Good night, everybody. Absolutely. Boy Meets World. Yes, Boy Meets World's an awesome show. I get it now. Yeah, Sean and Corey. You're correct, Ronnie. Max has Cabin Fever 1 and 2 just checked. Yeah, so if you want to watch Cabin Fever 1, you can watch it on there. Or if you want to spend $10 and buy the Blu-ray if you've not seen it, awesome. If you have seen any of these 4 movies, you can comment down and let me know below what your thoughts are, what your rankings are. The pandemic was Cabin Fever, literally. Yeah, no, for sure. We were all trapped in the cabin. Thankfully, no flesh-eating virus, but COVID did kick my ass. I'll tell you that much. We got Jamie Hart right towards the end here. My birthday is Saturday. Jamie Hart, happy early birthday, my friend. Keep kicking ass and taking names like I know you will, my friend. That's very cool. Jamie's always very pleasant people to have in the house, so I'm happy you caught it right at the end here. But like I said, yeah, unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about, thank you so much. I have a very exciting month of June planned. We got a Fulci fan film fun week. We have horror's worst ideas. We have the 8 films to die for, and we have a show that I'll be debuting known as the State of the Genre Address, which is basically I'm going to talk about the first half of 2024 and the state of the horror genre in that 6-month period. So very interesting, something I've never done before, talking about current horror movies that are coming out every other week. We're going to talk about current shit, where I see the genre going, studio by studio, movie by movie. That's going to be a fun show when we get there too. Definitely an experimental one, but will be fun. Trivia, Ryder Strong was covered in blood after a break. Oh yeah, I saw that too. Yeah. Stay Alive was amazing, and Frankie Muniz's last film. No, it wasn't his last film, but I hate that movie. Well, we will talk about it next week. Only another good time in the graveyard. Take care and have a good weekend, everybody. Sean, thank you so much as always. Good show tonight. Brett, thank you so much. Only, hell yeah, people saying hi to Jamie as we wrap. Awesome show. It's always an awesome show when we talk about cat fights over black dildos only. Well, I don't think there's any better outro than that. Have a good night. Grande, Sean, Jason, everyone. Absolutely. Everyone have a wonderful, safe, happy, healthy weekend. And we will catch you next time. Only on the graveyard. Too sweet, peace. Good night, everybody. Have a nice weekend.